My name is Spencer Lazar, and for the past 2 years, I've been working on my project entitled Worth a Shot, the impact of various public health factors on participants' intent to get vaccinated. According to a study done by the World Health Organization in 2012, vaccinations save an estimated 2 to 3 million lives every year. Anderson and May in 1991 concluded that they're the most important public health tool employed by governments for minimizing the spread of diseases. Because of scientific progress with respect to vaccinations, most vaccine-preventable diseases are at all-time lows in the United States, according to a study done by Rush and Murphy in 2017. Despite these efforts, there are still continued outbreaks of diseases that require extensive resources and endanger lives in our society today. Take the flu, for example. The flu pathogen attacks the respiratory system and causes nearly annual epidemics. However, I found that 26 U.S. states reported not meeting the government target of 80% coverage for influenza in 2015, according to a study done by Kennedy and others in 2016. The concept of vaccine hesitancy, or a delay in widespread vaccination across a population despite vaccine availability, is especially important to flu prevention because individuals have to make the decision whether or not to get vaccinated every year. Therefore, it is essential to consider the basis of individuals' decisions with regards to vaccinations when creating effective policies. Global efforts have resulted in a theoretical construct known as the 3C model, which asserts that complacency, a lack of confidence, and convenience are the three main reasons as to why individuals do not get vaccinated, according to Dubé et al. In 2014. Vaccinations provide direct benefit to those vaccinated and therefore serve the self-interest of those who get vaccinated. In this regard, self-interest is a potentially motivating factor towards pursuing vaccination for individuals. However, an appeal to altruism might also increase intent to get vaccinated for those individuals who are altruistic and regard the well-being of others as important. Moreover, by communicating the benefits to society rather than to the individual, vaccination's intention can increase for a given group for people, according to Shim et al. In 2016. Social norms is another idea which refers to a set of commonly established rules that implicitly govern a group of people and have also been shown to be effective. This is supported by Hershey et al. In 1994 that found when the majority of individuals in a population are vaccinated, others are likely to accept this norm and subsequently get vaccinated too. In recent years, various studies have focused on self-interest, altruism, and social norms as major motivating factors affecting healthcare decisions. However, relatively few studies on vaccination behavior employed an experimental model, and none were found that compared the effects of messages focused on self-interest, social norms, and altruism. To fill this gap, the following hypotheses were tested. First, participants shown a flyer emphasizing that people should get vaccinated to help others will A, demonstrate a higher inclination to get vaccinated, and B, perceive the disease as less dangerous than those shown the control or the self-interest nature of diseases. Next, participants shown a flyer emphasizing that people should get vaccinated because many other people do, or shown a flyer emphasizing that people should get vaccinated to protect themselves will A, demonstrate a higher inclination to get vaccinated, and B, perceive the disease as less dangerous than those shown the control. To conduct my study, I conducted a power analysis which indicated I needed 250 total participants. I then surveyed 309 people over the age of 18 online using Amazon Mechanical Turk. The majority of the sample was Caucasian, but race was broken down relatively similar to that of the total United States. Of the 309 participants, age was normally distributed with ages ranging from 18 to 65. In addition, participants who were not vaccinated in the past year outnumbers those who did by 2 to 1. In order to test my hypotheses, I crafted 4 different versions of my experimental stimuli, shown here. Each participant was equally likely to see any of the 4 experimental stimuli, but only saw one. The first one I labeled as the altruism, which emphasized getting vaccinated to help others. The second I termed as self-interest, shown here, where people were encouraged to get vaccinated for the purpose of protecting themselves. The third version was social norms. It was the social norms category, which emphasized getting vaccinated because many other people are also. And the last experimental stimuli was the neutral category. In it, participants were told to get vaccinated but weren't provided a reason to do so specifically, like they were in the other 3. The survey was comprised of the 2 scales as well as some demographic items. The hesitancy scale consisted of 6 items and measured how likely someone is to go and get vaccinated for a given disease. The perception scale also consisted of 6 items and measured someone's views on the dangers of vaccinations and disease. First, I looked at the relationship between type of appeal and vaccine hesitancy, which I related to intent to get vaccinated, shown in this graph. I found that the altruism category was statistically significantly lower than social norms, but not significantly different from the control. I then moved on to analyzing the relationship between type of appeal and perceived risk, and found that again, the altruism category was significantly lower than the social norms category, but not significantly different from the control, shown here. The finding that altruism was an important motivating factor is consistent with the results of prior studies. For example, both Hershey and Ash and Shim et al. In 2012 support the finding that altruism was a powerful motivating factor for vaccination decisions. Surprisingly, my findings contradict prior studies repeatedly demonstrating social norms to be one of the strongest motivating factors, according to Allen et al. And Orby et al. However, contrary to both hypotheses, none of the interventions, self-interest, altruism, or social norms were significantly more effective than the control in decreasing vaccine hesitancy and risk perception. These findings may be explained by people's long-held beliefs when it comes to vaccinations. Oftentimes, it is a very polarizing and divisive issue. People tend to feel very strongly either for or against vaccinations and are unwilling to change their minds easily, according to Bond and Nolan in 2011. Moreover, scientifically false claims that vaccinations can cause autism are becoming more and more popular with the rise of the anti-vaxxer movement and modern media, according to Kennedy et al. In 2016. As a result, people may be more doubtful and fearful, which makes them unwilling to be easily persuaded to get vaccinated. Despite my promising results, there are several limitations to my study. First, participant follow-up was not conducted to determine whether they actually went and got vaccinated afterwards. Second, the results are specific to the flu and the flu vaccine. While there might be strong similarities between the flu vaccine and other vaccines, the flu differs from other preventable diseases, raising uncertainty as to whether my results can be directly applied to other vaccinations. Since my experiment also underscores the impact that a flyer or a sign would have on a person contemplating getting vaccinated, it would be interesting to pursue in the future an experiment with other methods in which information is spread, such as through word or of mouth or social media, and see whether that would yield a different effectiveness for different types of appeals. With the importance and success of vaccinations in modern medicine, we must continue to search for ways to encourage more of the population to protect themselves from preventable diseases. We need to be cognizant of the factors which affect vaccine hesitancy and risk perception of various diseases in order to formulate effective methodologies for increasing vaccination rates. Thank you for listening. I look forward to answering any questions you might have.